Good evening, how y'all doing? This is Armin Yael with New Black World Order. And tonight we have a segment that we want to discuss. I was talking weeks earlier about situations where Africans are being overtaken, overran, and disrespected by people who don't seem to like how they doing their thing, how they own their own country. And we have tonight with us some guests. Brother William and Brother Ibrahim from Sudan. In the Bible, you call them Cushites. And tonight, I would like to introduce to you here on New Black World Order, Brother William and Brother Ibrahim. Brother William and Ibrahim are from Sudan. They are not a part of the northern government of Bashir, a man who has no respect for African sovereignty. He has no respect for African heritage or their culture. He only wants to see it his way or the highway. So tonight we have brought our brothers here from the motherland to discuss actually what's going on in Sudan. We have the new flag here of the newly formed government in southern Sudan. It's a very beautiful flag, and I accept it as my own. And I will fight for this flag, I will die for this flag, and I will fight for my brothers and die for my brothers and sisters in Sudan. Brother William, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so much, my brother Shay, and I'm glad to be here tonight and just for inviting us to share the tragic and the persecution been going on in my country for so long that the world have no idea about the persecution. By the way, my name is William Bol Gai Deng. I'm from the south, and actually I'm from the Dinka tribes. They are actually very much largest tribe in Sudan, and also they are the tallest people in Africa. And also, if you guys remember, N.B.W.O is one of our tribes, and also people like Luolding in Chicago. And I just want to let you know that yes, Sudan have been at war for so long. And the war in Sudan is kind of, people have no idea what this war is about. Sometimes people call it civil war. But Sudan war is more than a civil war. It's occupation by the group called themselves Arabs and the Islamic community coming to engage and to invade Sudan. It go on during centuries of 1800 when the Muhammad Prophet found religion and launched the war against the African in northern Africa, including Libya, Egypt, and also Indonesia, and Morocco, and Algeria, and the list go on until they come and reach Sudan. Right. As well as, you know, Sudan is the historical country in Africa. Sudan actually is the first nation in Africa. Sudan also not only is the first nation in Africa, Sudan is the oldest Christian community in Africa, and Sudan also the Cushite, and Sudan go back to the Ethiopia before Ali Selassie actually took the name of Sudan to use the Ethiopia today. Actually, Sudan was the Ethiopia, and very much Sudan historical place, and very much the civilization started in Sudan that people don't know about it, northern East Africa. And so we are people that have been in the Bible, in Old Testament, talk about the Cushite, Isaiah 18, talk about us. But what happened, our history have been stolen by the Arab and Islamic community, and they cut us out from our history and define Sudan in their own image, that Sudan is start from them, and they describe Sudan as Arab and Islamic state. We've been in slavery, and actually Sudan was conquered by the Arab more than 60 years before the British went to Sudan in 1800.
That's right.
British went to Sudan in 1889, and Sudan was colonized, and actually 60 years before that. So when British went to Sudan, actually have learned that the Sudan was conquered by the Arabs, and the slave were in the market in Khartoum. And actually when the Western came to Khartoum, they find the slave in the market, and they just, you know, sell them out to the Western world. But the actual man who introduced the slave in Africa is very much the people that are described as Arabs, who've been commit atrocity, and they believe that the only way for them to make a living and to be rich is all them they want to live over the slavery.
Right.
And the slavery now is not only back then, but it's still going on in Sudan today. And Sudan practiced slavery until now. I'm a former slave by the Arab militant. I was kidnapped in my village in 1987, and I was taken to captivity, and I actually escaped in 1889 when I found a way to
1989?
1989, yes.
Right.
And then when actually I find my way out from that actually Arab captivity, me and my brother and my sister, I was able also to come to Khartoum. I was put in camp in 1988 when I spent more than 2 years in that captivity. And then also in 1997, Osama bin Laden, a man that attacked 9/11, was actually sponsored by the government of the regime in Khartoum to live in Sudan. And then from there, he asked the government to shut down the organization that they were able to have us as immigrants. They call us immigrants in Sudan. We are not actually citizens in Sudan. They call us immigrants by the Arabs.
In your own country?
In my own country. And then actually they shut down the camps, and I was able to exile again in 1989 when I came to Egypt. And when I told them that, you know, I've lost my mom, I lost my dad, Arab attacked my village, and I lost all that we had, and now I have nowhere to go. So I was given asylum to come to the United States in 1999, where I come to Richmond, Virginia, here, and that's how I made it to America. But to be honest, is that because what's been going on in Sudan is that the Arabs believe that the only way to conquer Africa, they want to do through Sudan as the largest country in Africa in order for them to conquer Africa.
Right.
And also they'll be able to take over the world because Sudan is the largest country, and also the resources in Africa, if they can get their hand on those resources, they'll be able to use them to overthrow the Western civilization. And not that, even today, if you see in the world what's going on around the world today, it starts in Sudan. And I want to leave you with quotation by the Martin Luther King that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
That's right.
And that is the reality today, because Sudan actually have been injustice for so long and now become a problem of the world today we are living in. You don't need to forget about 9/11 that is started by a man that lived in Sudan for 9 years before he went to Afghanistan, Osama bin Laden. He lived there and he left some group there, and they've been fighting us for so long, and all this Arab community, the Middle Eastern, they're supporting Muslim Brotherhood in Sudan, and the most leaders have been in Sudan for so long. They have been trained in Egypt, either in Saudi, and send them back to Africa to kill African citizens.
So you mean to tell me that that brand of Islam is an Islam that seeks to overthrow the African manhood?
That's true.
Overthrow the African sovereignty.
That is very true.
So you're also telling me that long before the white Christian came to enslave the African,
that's true,
that the white Arab was there,
they were there
enslaving the African.
That is very true.
So when I said this a couple of weeks ago, that was not a lie. That's the absolute truth.
That is very true.
Okay.
It is very true that the slavery actually started by the Arab, not by the white man.
Right.
And that's why the black folk are so confused about this. But we in Africa believe that the slavery started by the Arabs, and they're still doing it even today. We have modern slavery still going on in Sudan. And let me tell you, to leave you, the two most countries that still practice slavery by the Arab race today is Sudan and Mauritania in the West Africa. They still, all African kids, they work for them in free labor, and they use them to work for their kids when they go into school so they can cook for them and prepare the food for them for free.
Wow.
They're doing that in Morocco now, and they're taking every student from the Middle East go and find education in Saudi. He'll go with his slaves to go and work for him.
Right.
So in Sudan, on the other hand, we have a slavery that have been worked to death, and some of them, they beat them to death. They have no free will to live again. And
are they raping African women?
They're raping African women, and they make the babies to make them Arab so they can change them so they can...
Lighting them up.
Yep, and then they use them again, their own race, so they can fight for their own race, and that's been going on in Sudan.
Right. So basically, the history of the white Arab is to go into a country, spread his form of Islam.
That's right.
Make the people forget about who they are.
That is true.
What is their heritage? What is their culture? To accept a new life of a complacent slave.
That is very true. And that's why people like me have no clue about my own history. My own history has been taken away from me, and I was taught to speak Arabic and to
Right.
become Arabs and deny myself as African. I call myself as Arab, and my country has been defined as Arab state. So I have no connection with the country of people in the continent of Africa.
Right.
I have connection with the Middle Eastern, very much because the language they give me in Khartoum in Sudan is Arabic.
Right.
So I have no connection with other African who just look like me.
Right.
So it's very much that the war in Sudan is also a war of identity.
Right.
They're coming in and try to take away my identity,
who
make
you
me a
are.
different race,
Right.
and then use me again in my own kind.
Right, right.
If I say no, I would be killed if I was to die.
Right.
Yes.
But it's the same thing like in our neighborhoods. The white Arab comes into our neighborhood. He converts people to his form of Islam.
That is true.
And they overlook all the evil deeds that he do to their own people.
That is very true.
This is very bad position for any African to be in.
That is
If
true.
you find yourself in such a position, you need to liberate yourself and get from among those type of people and come unite with brothers and sisters who look just like you and help drive those people out of their homes. This government in the north has no right to be there
That is
because
true.
the country belongs to Africans.
That is true.
It does not belong to pale, white, peckerwood, white supremacist Arabs.
That is true.
And one day, when we get this thing together, I'll go with you home to fight with you, brother.
And that's why we've been fighting for more than 50 years. We've been fighting since 1956, and that war went on for 10 years. And then in 1972, we signed an agreement, and the Arab dishonored the agreement, went to war again in 1983. And that war claimed about 3 million people died. We
Wow.
have about 4 million displaced, including me now in America.
Wow.
We have about 3,000 lost boys of Sudan now with no mom and dad living in America across the world. So all these atrocities have been committed by the Arabs because we refuse to be Arab. We try to keep our identity as African.
That's right. Be
And,
yourself.
and that's why we pay the price for our identity as African. And we actually have been disconnected from African both in the continent, also in the world. We have they don't understand the conflict in Sudan. Sometimes they describe as civil war. But the reality is not a civil war, and that would make the world blind about the war in Sudan.
Right.
The Sudan have been in occupation before the British, and it's still
It's
going on
invasion.
today. Invasion by
That's
the
what it
race
is.
who call them. We did not invade them in the Arab Peninsula. They come and invade our land in the continent,
Right.
and they try to divide African continent, and they try to make an Arab and Islamic state, so they can have Islamic world and the Muslim world.
Okay, so let's say thousands of years before the rise of Islam and Prophet Muhammad, the place that they call Arabia was actually owned by
Yes, by
by
Africans. Even Egypt today is not Egypt back then.
Right.
Egypt today have been taken away from us.
By
they
the
push
same
by the
process.
same process. And actually, they're pushing the African southward.
southward. Right.
And that's why you're seeing all the way going southward. And every time they come in, they're pushing us southward. And the only place that where people resist is people in my community who resist the Islamic, that if we allow them, they will penetrate through Sudan and they will conquer Africa. And Sudan have been surrounded by 10 countries. Any instability in Sudan, it makes Africa to be unstable, especially Uganda and Kenya, Ethiopia, and Central Africa, and all these countries that are surrounded to us. They
It's
are
the gateway into
Yes,
Africa.
exactly, to gateway into Africa. So they would be able to reach South Africa, but we block them, we resist them for more than 100 years. So now they have no way to penetrate through that.
Okay.
Because our people have actually learned that the only way to deal with Arab is to force them by force.
Fight them back.
That's why our people form our liberation army, because Sudan Liberation People, the People Liberation Army, is that to form a military that can be able to resist against the Arab and Islamic occupation in Sudan.
Okay. Yeah. You have anything to say, Brother Ibrahim?
Ibrahim.
First of all, I want to thank my brother
Amin Yahya.
Amayala, and actually I'm very glad to be here and share our brother what the African face in their homeland.
They come.
And for me, my name is Ibrahim. I'm from Eastern Sudan, cross the Red Sea.
The Red Sea.
Cross the
That's
Red
mentioned
Sea.
in the Bible.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And my tribe is the Bija people, and many of you they don't know the word Bija, but many of you they know the word Faziwazi.
Faziwazi, yeah.
The word Faziwazi is the the Beja people.
Right.
And this word, the British writer Roger Kipling, during the Victorian age, the Beja, they defeat the British.
You should open the door for them.
They defeat the British and they destroyed the British infantry square.
Okay.
So that time, Roger Kipling, he write his poem about the Beja, and they call them the Fuzzy Wuzzy.
Right.
And he starts by, we fought across the sea, we fought many men, across the sea, we fought many men, some of them brave and some of them wasn't. So maybe if you Google, you will find a lot of stuff about the Fuzzy Wuzzy. So the Beja are warrior. They are first-class fighter, as Kipling saying. And regarding the situation of the Beja right now, the Beja, they start their struggle against the Arab government of Khartoum in 1958 when they established Beja Congress Party as a political party calling for the right of the Beja people.
Right.
And during the 1960s elections, Beja Congress won all the parliament seats in Eastern Sudan. But after that, the leaders of the Beja are killed.
Right.
And the political party prohibited. So again, in 1986 elections, also the Beja, they win a lot of votes, but still they,
Voter fraud.
yeah, they fraud and
Right.
arrest the leaders and they kill of them. Until again, in 1994, the Beja Congress forced it to the armed struggle against the regime in Khartoum, where Bashir is saying, we will not recognize anyone who don't carry weapons.
Right.
And also the same time, the Bashir regime, they sold the most fertile land in Eastern Sudan to Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
That land is the Beja land.
Right. Sacred.
Yeah, it's not sacred. It's, they buy it. They say they sell
The land was sacred to Beja,
Yeah,
but they did not respect the sacredness of the land
Yeah.
and sold it to the Pale Arab.
yeah. So again, the Beja, they fight 13 years with our brother in the south. The SPLM and the Beja Congress, they fight together until the Southerns, they signed the CBA, Comprehensive Peace Agreement, in 2005. And the Eastern Front, or they signed the peace, Asmara Peace Agreement in October 2006. But the situation of the Beja is very miserable because the agreement is just, kind of a paper.
On paper.
It's not treating the root cause of the
He does not
problems
he
in
does
the
not
East.
recognize the people.
Yeah. In time, the Eastern Sudan, or the Beja people, is the most poor people in the Sudan. In time, their land is the most valuable and rich.
Right.
You have the gold mining. We have just one gold mining. We have many gold mining, but just one, they produce 10 tons
Of
of
gold.
pure gold per year. This is starting from 1991 to until now. So the Beja, they don't benefit anything from this golding mining, except, they using the cyanide in the extraction of the gold, and the cyanide, they go deep in the soil, and the livestock of the village is taken out, and the people, they get very dangerous diseases like
So they
cancers.
can't even work their own land
No.
for the sake of
No,
money.
they can't work. Even if you died with the disease and stuff like this, no one care of
No
you.
medical treatment.
Yes. And if you go Sudan census data or Sudan record regarding the statistics, you will find the high rate of the malnutrition in Sudan among the pigeon. The high rate of maternal mortality and infant mortality among the pigeon. The high rate of the malnutrition,
High blood pressure, cholesterol.
Maybe in the world, the only place that have the highest rate of the tuberculosis is the pigeon people.
Well, let me ask you a
this
question.
is a deliberate policy that let those people dying by hunger and by disease.
Because of powerlessness.
And the other issue, the vigilant, the only area in Sudan that they have the boards, even the oil, the export, import, all of this done.
But they benefit nothing from it.
No. All the revenues of this stuff, they go directly to Khartoum.
The Khartoum. Now let me ask you a question. Bashir won't recognize the Dinka.
Yeah.
Bashir won't recognize your tribe.
Yeah.
But does he recognize white Palestinians?
Yes.
Yes.
It does.
Does he recognize white Iranians?
Yes.
Does he recognize white Iraqis?
Of course, yes.
Does he recognize white Jordanians?
Everything in Middle East.
So he's a house nigga.
Oh yes, because he have been used to
To
do the job to
of
the
undermining
exactly
African
to the,
people.
yeah, exactly. He actually have been sent to be a master that it can do. He's doing the job to the masters in Middle East.
Right.
He actually very much the war we fought for 23 years in Sudan have been supported by Iranian. The weapon come from Iran. Weapon come from Iraq before Saddam actually lost the power.
Right.
Weapon come from the Saudis. All this money are applauding to support their Muslim brother.
Right.
Who was fighting infidel.
As long as they stomp on African people.
Exactly, because they call us infidels and they call us abid. Abid in Arabic it means slave.
Right. But
So
you're not a slave. You're a free
I'm not a
African.
slave. Yes, I'm free African, but they call me a slave in order for me to have a mindset that I'm a slave
Right,
in my
right,
own land.
right.
And they use that a tactic to get support from the Arabs communities.
As long as they beating down an African,
That's
they
right.
get support from white Arabs.
Exactly. Even though that when we fought a war in 1990, actually 91 and 92, when we were about to defeat the Arab system in Khartoum, they were sent from Egypt and from Syria and to come to attack us in the south. We were about to capture some cities.
So they had other nationals coming in to help attack Africa.
Exactly, because we fought in the ground and they came from the air to bomb everything and bomb the soldiers that they were fighting to go to Khartoum to capture the city. So every time they do that, it made the military to go backward. So that's why the war been going on for 22 years. But the majority of the African in Khartoum, they're 90%, but the Arab, that's 10%.
Right.
But they're using a policy of divide and conquer.
Right.
Sometimes they try to recruit African to use them against their brothers and sisters when they want to make a living, because they use food as a tool to divide us.
That they stole from you.
They stole from us. They use it and
use it to divide you.
Exactly. That's what been going on, and that's what actually why make them strong. Because most of us very much we have lack of education. 95% do not know how to read and write in my own country, and also what happened, the education in Khartoum in Sudan have been also a limited education. Have been used only Islamic education, Arab education. If you are not Muslim, you have no chance to go to school. You are not Arab. You cannot go to. You got to accept to be in Arabs, to speak Arabic really well, so they can use you to send you back to your community to destroy them.
To flip you and turn you into an Islamic house nigga.
Exactly.
William, I want to mention one point.
Okay.
Maybe my brother William, they know that. On the last year, on December, the Bashir and the Arab countries, they make a conference in Kuwait. They call it Eastern Sudan
Initiative.
Now, rehabilitation and donor conference.
Right.
And all Arab countries, they granted at that conference $4 billion.
Y'all hear that? All you house niggas in Islam, here it is. This brother's telling you that you're being used to undermine your own African sovereignty.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So they granted $4 billion in the name of donor conference of Israel. In time, it is, new kind of slavery.
Right.
That they want to sell the bigger land, to sell the bigger resources, everything.
Right.
They put it in under their hands. So the problem of the Sudan is all the marginalized area in the south, in the east, in the Darfur, in the Nuba Mountains, and the far north Nubia. All of them, they are fighting the system regime in Khartoum.
Right.
It's not just Bashir. It's from Bashir from the independence of the Sudan until now.
Okay.
All of them, they agree on one thing. Keep the other African native people slave and under, in a very less power positions.
Right.
So right now, our brother in the south, they get their freedom according to the referenda in last January. Okay. And the same way, all the other regions, they have the same rights. But again, if we are not united,
we will not.
We will not.
That's true.
Success.
Right. Exactly.
So because unity is the key.
Unity is
the key.
The key of all African native Sudanese, and unity is the key in all African continents.
And Africans all over
all of the world.
You see, one thing you need to understand about the referendum in the South, the independence of the South Sudan it's going to be in July 9 in 2011. It's a defeat for me personally as a South Sudanese speaking, because I left my brothers at war and I couldn't run. So I felt like even though that we got just one region got independent, we have different regions like Darfur, and you have genocide in Darfur. They're African, they are not Arabs. But they were deceived that they were Muslim, and they were used against their brothers in Africa. But in 2003, they realized that the African, they have been deceived by the Arabs to go to our own brothers. Now they're coming back.
Now they're coming back.
To claim their identity, and they are 100% Muslim. So now there's nobody out there can speak for them except us.
Right.
Who are very much African indigenous, plus our African belief in Christianity now is standing behind our brothers in Darfur who are Muslim.
Right.
And the Arab world who are Muslim will deny them because they're Abid and they're...
Because they are friends with their Christian brothers.
Yes.
But this is the type of unity that we need.
And not before that.
Because they are not Arab.
Right. Because they are not Arab, they want to kill them. So we African, we believe that even though we are Christian,
we can accept them.
We accept them, we're our brothers, even though they're Muslim. They are brothers.
But they can't accept them.
They can accept them. Because they are African, and the Arab can accept African men among them. So it's our job to accept them. So another thing is that we in the Sudan, that's why we need to unite together. And unity in Sudan, it means the unity in African continent.
The unity of the African continent.
It will start in Sudan.
Unity of the African globe.
It will start in Sudan. And this is a top battle, and we got to win that battle.
Right.
And in order for us to win that, we need to unite entire the African marginalized indigenous people, and that's why we're trying to make them to bring together. When we bring them together, they will understand the logic of the tact of the Arab government in Khartoum, and then we're going to unite our brothers across Africa to let them know that Sudan is the largest corner of Africa, and Sudan is the heart of the Africa. Yes.
We got.
If the Sudan lost, that means that we can lose Africa, we can lose the world. So we need to be careful about this.
We got some other brothers coming in, very important brothers, and we're glad to have them here. This is Al-Jalaba, the founder of the New Black World Order, and Brother Ibrahim and Brother William.
Brother Jafar.
And Brother Jafar.
And Brother Khalid.
And Brother Khalid.
And also Jumi Mullah.
Jumi Mullah.
Yes.
And I'm gonna let them go ahead and take this out, and y'all can call in too, 915-5205. Can you get in, brother?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, you fine?
Yes.
All right. We're straight. And we're gonna have these brothers speak to you and explain to you how Islam is being used to turn Africans against Africans.
That's right.
And, you know, that the European Christianity also used Christianity to turn Africans against Africans. And even Judaism was used to turn Africans against Africans. And we have to find some form of unity, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you're just African indigenous belief system, that we need one Africa. And we need an army to defend all Africans all over the globe. This is Amin Yael, and I would like for Brother Khalid to take us on.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
thank you. My name is Khalid Jirais. I'm from far north Nubia in Sudan, and I represent a non-profit organization based in Washington, D.C. called Nubia Project. And we are here tonight to discuss about the Sudan issue, the marginalization and Arabization of indigenous people in Sudan. In Nubia Project, we think and we looked at the issue of Sudan is caused by imposing Arabism and imposing the religion, the Islamization and Arabization on the indigenous people. Since the 652 AD, the collapse of the Kingdom of Nubia. And since that, we've been struggling to preserve our culture, our heritage.
That's right.
And we didn't get help. That time, there is no human rights, there is no United Nations. So we've been suffering and struggling. And lately, since 1970s, when the Gulf Emirates and Gulf countries, Arab countries erupted, and oil price go from the floor to the roof after the fight of the Arab against Israel. Arab generate billions of dollars in the desert, and they don't know what to do with this money. So now they want to build Arab imperialism, Arab supremacy, what they call New Andalusia. They want to build New Andalusia in the land of the blacks, Sudan. Sudan, it's an Arabic word, means land of blacks. Basically, Arab, when they crush the Kingdom of Nubia, they call it land of blacks, but politically means the land is still owned by blacks, the land not yet taken from blacks, and the land there is a plan to take in the future from the blacks.
But we will stop them.
Hopefully. Now with this petrodollar, Arab, they trying to take a land, a fertile land with plenty of water, and which is Sudan. What they have to do with the indigenous people, people of south of Sudan, people of Darfur, people of Nuba Mountain, people of Blue Nile, people of Bija, and people of Nubia. The indigenous Kushites are living in this land. It's a big obstacle to the Arab to get the land of the blacks. So they used Arabized blacks in the center of Sudan. The blacks who became totally Arabized in the process of the slave trades. The groups who aid Arabs, help Arabs to
We got a caller. Somebody might want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Good evening, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, I'm calling. Yes, I'm calling to refer to what you're saying.
Okay, what's your question?
The name too.
I can't quite understand.
Okay, what we're saying here today is that there are certain people who use Islam as a tool to colonize people. They use Islam to conquer people. and that they came into Africa long before the white Christian slave master came there, and they destroyed a heritage and a culture that was already there because the people refused to accept their new way of life. And we just believe that the people of that country has a right to keep their own culture, and they have a right to reject Arabization of Africans, and they have a sovereign right to set up a nation of their own and live freely in a country that has been there since the time almost began. You understand that?
Okay. Yes.
It's the same way that the white man did to the Indians.
Yes.
You understand
yes.
that?
Yes, I understand it.
Right.
But I also want to understand this. Okay, I'm over here in America. I want to understand what it has to do with my Black American culture.
Well, if you are the brother biologically and genetically of all Africans on the earth, then it should hurt you when an African hurt anywhere on this planet. If it does not hurt you, then you are Europeanized. See, if an African hurts in Australia, I hurt in my heart in Richmond, Virginia. That's why I brought these brothers here, because they are my brothers. I have not disconnected myself from Africa because of white Christianity, or because of white Judaism, or because of white Islam.
And you know what? I understand what you're saying. I really do.
You really do? You know,
I
like,
understand what you're saying.
you know, like,
It's just that Black people in America has been so confused, and it's like me. I am confused, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what can we do? What's the right thing and what's the wrong thing? It's like we came over here and we've been doing all this crazy stuff that's going out that the white man have put on us all these years, and we've been doing it. And that's like
the first thing you can do is find out a knowledge of yourself. Begin to learn about Sudan, learn about other African countries in Africa, and become concerned. Actually, and not only that, learn to love your brothers and sisters right here in America with you, and understand that we are a global family.
Yeah.
You see, we let outsiders come in and tell us who should be our family. We let outsiders come and tell us what should we believe. And while we had our own belief systems, long before any Arab came into Africa, we had our own belief systems. Long before the white man came into Africa, we had our own belief systems. Long before any white Egyptian came into Egypt and took over Kemet, we had our own belief systems. So all we have to do is return to that which we once was. And we have people to help us get there. We have brothers and sisters from all over the planet. And if you want to say
brother,
something to this sister?
Yes, brother, I understand what you're saying. And I agree. But when you're in a situation and you are born in this country, and you read to how you was raised and how you
Right. They actually, yeah, they cut you completely off.
Understand what to do and what not to do. We always read to know what's right from wrong, but it's like right is wrong.
Yeah, well, they switched it all around. We got a brother here that would like to respond to your question also. Brother Jaffer.
Yeah, thank you for your question. And my name is Jaffer Kenjam, and I want to go directly to what you said. What does it do, or what has it to do with blacks in America? And of course, your question is very good, because the way we have been treated all along throughout our history is that dividing us into compartments, and so that we can completely disidentify ourselves with each other, and therefore my cause will not be your cause, and vice versa. So the expansion of our view into looking in our problems, as my brother said earlier, that the problem of our brother in Caribbean is the problem of the sister in Africa, and in United States, in Canada, in Europe, and everywhere. And this is just the way to do it. How can we get to this concept? Is through going back to our history and begin to learn our historical background and where we came from. and we begin to learn our culture and trace our roots. That way will give us a chance to reflect.
All right, does that help you out, sister?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and you helped me out a whole lot, but, you know, it's like this, you know, it's just white America, and they dish out what they want to dish out to black Americans, and it's up to us to really know.
Right, and it's also up to us to believe that destiny has some favorites sometimes, and I think our time is on the way. I think we need to stop believing that we can't turn this thing around, you know, because white Arabs are not God. White Christians are not God. White Jews are not God. So we have a power that's higher than some people that I think is going to favor us in the future only if we take those steps towards loving one another.
Okay, true.
All right?
Yeah.
And thanks for calling. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right?
Bye.
I think there's some more people calling. We got, yeah. Okay. You can go ahead and finish elaborating on that if you want.
He was the one.
Yes, we are looking to preserve and to protect the Kushite culture in Sudan, what they call Sudan now. Sudan, as I mentioned before, it's an Arab, relabel it, land of blacks, land of slaves, and now they need this land, and then able to take this land, they have to wipe off all the indigenous Kushites.
That's right.
And how the processing will go, they will use the Arabized blacks themselves, what we call them.
Go ahead. Caller, you on the air? You have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to comment on what you were talking about earlier, and I had this idea some time back and wondering, you know, if the brothers in Africa could unite with the brothers here in America, because some of us are here and don't want to be here, but they make it hard for us to go back home and trace our roots and see where we came from and, you know, to know more about our history. But I just want people to know there is strength in numbers.
Yes,
and they call us the minority here in America. But if we all come together, you know, the black man, the black woman, it's the majority. And not rule the world, but take our land and, you know, live the way it was intended. Before we were stolen away and broken.
The people of African descent outnumber Europeans 11-1 anyway. And we really outnumber Arab people anyway. And as soon as we can get past this division of ideologies and these divisions of religion, we will be able to consolidate these efforts into one blow, and we will strike that last strike for freedom globally. And I appreciate your call.
I say put the plan together and put it out to the people, and let's move on. I mean, I'm tired of living this way. I know I have a strength that's in me, and I know where it comes from. And I know there's other people that feel that same way out here, too.
Yes, ma'am.
So keep doing what you're doing. I'm listening.
Thank you.
Out there, let's follow.
Black power.
Thank you.
No doubt. Thank you. Go ahead, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, what we are doing just to preserve and protect the Kushites culture in Africa, which is targeted by Arab Muslims to wipe it off and claim the land, Arab land. And we believe Nubia, Kush, is the heart of Africa. Mm-hmm. Nubia is the center of the Africa, center of black man anywhere in the continent and in the diaspora, everywhere in the world. If the Arab manage to destroy culture and the heritage and the language of the Nubian, then there is no center for the Africans, for the black mankind. So we need our brothers and sisters' help to preserve this culture from destruction. Our culture is targeted from Arab leagues, from the Muslim unions to destroy it and to take the land and claim it's an Arab land. And this is, they using actually Arabized black in this process, what we call them in Sudan politics, Jalaba. Jalaba means the slave collectors. The people,
house niggas.
Yes, slave collectors who work with Arabs to hunt our own people and sell them to Arabs. Over 10 million slaves being sold to Arabia, 99% of them castrated. so they don't have to do demographic change in Arabia. Only we have around 2 million in south of Iraq in Basra today. Those are the survivors of the enslavement of Arabs, and this is not mentioned a lot. And there's a lot of have to be written and talk about the enslavement in East Africa by Arab Muslims. And unfortunately, there's scholars here in the United States talking about the Arab enslavement was soft and came to help the Africans. But we have Africans, the Kushites, we used to have civilization before Arab came to Africa, and as my brother mentioned, 1,000 years we have the civilization, and in medicine, in engineering, in philosophy, in chemistry, and the problem is we want to stop the American taxpayers' money going to Arab country as a Republic of Arab Republic of Egypt. It's a mystery how the Kemet became Arab Republic, but it's not my issue now. My issue to stop destruction of what remain from the black culture in Africa, Nubia.
Right, Nubia.
And this is America pay from the taxpayers. They send $1.5 billion every year to Egypt, and this money is helping the Islamic regime in the Sudan, and they wipe off in southern Sudan 4 million, and they killed in Darfur over 300,000, and in Bija and Nuba Mountain and all rest of Sudan.
How you doing, Carla? You on the air?
How you doing, sir? I want to say assalamu alaikum and shalom to my brothers.
How you doing? That's my daughter, Anika.
Wow.
Hello.
Yeah.
Wow.
How you doing, daughter?
Great. How you doing, Father? I just want to let you know that the spirit behind what you all are doing today is really touching me. And I can feel in the caller's voice that what you all are saying is really moving people. And if we could continue to unite and to keep a line of communication between our foreign brothers, our brothers across the nation, then I know that with God behind us, we can really accomplish and remove our oppressors. What we're doing is good. I just want to say I love you, Dad, and I'm always touched when I hear you all speak this way.
That's right. Just make sure you live for a free Africa, free of white Arab domination, free of any other domination other than African people.
I feel it. I'm all for it. I'm all for my brothers and sisters in America to let's go back and let's find out what it is that is us in the essence. And this life is not our life. We will never make it trying to fit someone else's identity. We have to find our own identity, because that's the only way that we are going to be blessed and prosperous and all of those things, as if we be ourselves.
That's right. Be ourselves. Stop trying to be white Arabs.
And actually what happened also now, what the Arab are doing in America, and they try to destroy America, and they want to use black man to destroy America. Mm-hmm. They come and settle in black neighborhood and try to be a businessman.
Selling your children beer and cigarettes.
And try to set them up so the black folk already fight out with the white man. So they want to use them to destroy America, and that's what was going on in black neighborhood today. So what is going on in America is not new to other Sudanese African. We already know it could destroy America for years to come, and that's why we need to be careful. And we not try to, so we can be able to make sure that things like that cannot happen. We cannot be used, because now the Arab man who's slaving your folk in the African continent is coming to America to use you against the system, whatever the system is. But my concern is we should not be used by any man.
That's right.
And we need to stand up for our rights. If anyone that is slave in Africa in these days, that you have black president in the White House, you're a slave. And they will not dishonor you, they will not disrespect you. And that's why I have a message, always sometimes I disagree with my president, that calling Arab world and Muslim world, that dangerous to us as African is destroying our humanity in the African continent. When you try to embrace these people who are killing your own kind, destruction of the African continent, you call them Arab world and Muslim world, you're passionate about it, you're killing us on the other side.
That's right.
And you have no clue what you're talking about. Because that's why our president, President Obama, need to understand when we elected him in 2008, We elected him actually to preserve the human right anywhere, whether in America or maybe in Africa. But the man cannot even have a chance to visit Africa, where he claimed that he's the son of the African continent.
Right. But he go visit them white PRR.
Yes, he go to West Arab and tell them about how it's great for the art and the historical, and they made this and they made the map and algebra. This is not a reality. We are the people of the historical and the civilization. Here, I never talk about that.
Right.
We are the gods. We are
Yes.
the gods of the earth. We are the we are the...
And remember, the religion, we have to be free from the religion. That means both Christianity and Islam or any foreign religion in that interest in Africa, so that we can be clear to think about ourselves.
That's right. So Black Power, this is another show of the New Black World Order, and it is exactly what it says, New Black World Order. There is a new man in Africa today that is rising, that is going to tell everybody to go home. Africa is ours. We love you.
Thank you, and sorry to come late.
And when we get to fighting,